And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruby, and this is my review for Netflix's new original anime movie, Ghost in the Shell, SAC 2045, The Sustainable War. This is a recut version of the series that they produced recently, which was met with mixed feelings, mostly negative. They've done a bunch of stuff which we'll talk about in the review. Let me know in the comments below, were you aware of this? Are you even going to give it a go? Did you just hate the Sustainable War series that they did? Or were you one of those few that kind of liked it? Let me know in the comments below, which is your favorite Ghost in the Shell anime so far that we've had. Thanks so much for watching. Let's jump in. In the year 2045, Makoto Kusanagi and Section 9 return to fight a dangerous new threat in this feature-length recut of the first season of SAC 2045. Okay, so it's just under 2 hours, and it's obviously pretty much, if you've seen the series, it's pretty much the same as the series, except really condensed. 2 hours versus, I think, 12, 13 episodes. And what they've done is they've gone to a new color grading system. So they've taken that CG, but made it look more shell shading and made it a bit more vibrant to try and hide the kind of plastic-looking mannequin doll effect. Now that's still all there, and it's very hard to get any emotional intent on the faces. The only place you really get the emotion is from the voice work, which works quite well. I think you can listen to it in English, and that work is quite fun. But the original is always what I go for because you can get the voice work inflections there quite well, which is why I think in this particular instance it's probably better. You almost need it because there is still no emotional intent on the faces of what they're going through. It's all kind of plastic looking. It's all kind of just shell shaded where it needs to be. The only like information of their age on their faces is like slight lines in the shell shading. And our protagonist, she's completely, because she's even more so less human than the others, her face is more plastic because obviously you know her background and her story. And so what we get here then is a color grading system with new, I guess if you were to do side by side, you would see that there are new scenes inserted, but it also feels like it's a much more, apart from it being contained, it's a much more cohesive storyline that I thought was actually fairly entertaining, and I was invested in the characters in this movie much more than I was in the series. In fact, I'd forgotten a bunch of stuff that had happened, probably blanked it out in my mind. And this time around I was like, oh, I actually care about the bad guy almost. I understand the plight, and that's a massive turnaround from the beginning of the series where you have a new member introduced to Section 9, which is almost non-existent in this one. The new member is there for a bit and then gone. It takes a few episodes for that character to kind of disappear. I'm trying to remember, I felt like he stayed around for a lot longer. This time round, they focus on the thing, the new ghost, or the person that is able to hack in a way that they can't detect, they can't break down. It's actually quite an interesting story, because just when you thought they couldn't get better, or you couldn't use this type of universe's information with, deep diving, there isn't any way that they've gone that could be new. Just when you thought they'd kind of discovered everything in the Ghost in the Shell series, they come along with this kind of new way of taking humans but making them more android, not really in control of themselves. And that was quite cool because they feel like they're almost unbeatable unless you just completely overwhelm them. And even then, you're kind of wondering how they're going to take on these bad guys. And that makes it an interesting story. But you still have that CG there that kind of makes it just stilted. But with the color grading, I feel like it's done a much better job. And with the much shorter, the shortness of the story, but more condensed, and the pacing then feels right, and there feels like there's a tenseness, there's an edginess to the storyline. So you kind of put the issues aside that it has, and then suddenly you find yourself, wait, I'm kind of enjoying this story. It feels like a much better version of what the series was supposed to be. Now we have a movie, and I feel like moving forward, that's probably where they should go. Unfortunately, that's not where they're going moving forward. We're getting this month, I believe, I think May the 26th, we're getting season 2 of this. I'm wondering if we're going to get the same sort of condensed feature down the line when when it feels dragged out again, or they haven't done the color thing or managed to control that pacing, whether we're going to get another feature. I think that'd be funny. Personally, I feel like the short contained movies are where it works well. If you've ever seen the Innocence Ghost in the Shell movie, I thought that was fairly good. Obviously, the original is the best by far. Still, it's one of the greatest anime films, never mind Ghost in the Shell films of all time. Up there with Akira for me, anyway. Let me know, what is your favorite Ghost in the Shell or anime film? I enjoyed this. It's much better than I thought it was. I'm going to give this 3 just Nicolas Cage's out of 5 because I was emotionally invested. It does end in a place where nothing explained. It's kind of stopped in the middle, like just when it's get going, just when they're starting to get to grips with what's happening. Until next time, people. So I would have probably rated it a bit higher, except for where it stops. It's not even a cliffhanger, it just stops. So you know there has to be more. If they left it there, you would be pissed. And Netflix occasionally cancels things and you're like, I'm never going to get to find out what happens to these characters. At least we know the story is carrying on. So we have that. Some of the action sequences were a lot of fun. I thought the music worked well within it. I thought some of the character design, even though CG, was fun to see how they used that CG with the shell shading, with the new color grade, and then those new scenes. Thought it was much better than what they did originally. Maybe that's because I went in with an expectation of being really low already because I saw the series. It could be to do with that. I just think it is better this way. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.